Hey everyone, I'm doing something a little bit different today, something that makes me a little bit uncomfortable, but we're gonna try it. I actually just finished up an interview and thought maybe I could recap a little bit or of like kind of highlight some of the takeaways from my interview because I feel like as soon as an interview ends, I always like jump into talking to the production team or Mark or whoever about what it is that we just recorded and just kind of some of my favorite parts. But I wanted to kind of highlight here and maybe share a little bit of what I took away from the episode. I got to talk to Guillaume from Kerastase. He actually grew up in France, but lives in New York now. And so it was really fun to talk about his family and his daughter, and just kind of those special relationships. I always think when I interview and I get to talk to people about their families, you really see like a different side of them and you see them light up, you'll see smiles and all of that stuff. So I really love to get close with people and kind of talk about more than just the business side of things. But one of my main takeaways from this interview was Guillaume talking about having a team and how you go from your career or whatever it is that you're working on being so much about you. And then all of a sudden, your career path can change and you might be actually going into a role where you have team working under you. And in order for that to be successful and in order for that to work, you have to change your mentality to more of a team mentality. So as he said, when everyone is doing well and succeeding, obviously he does better. And so you're more managing other people's goals, managing other people's tasks a little more. And that transition can be really hard. And I was just thinking personally, how I would handle something like that and how that actually could be challenging to switch to that mindset. And I do think it's something that as you move on in your career, you might go from being a stylist to a salon owner or an esthetician working in a spa to now having your own. And I really like the idea of really just kind of going down a rabbit hole a little bit on what that would look like and what that would take. So I feel like I want to do a whole episode just on that. So I already am racking my brain on who I can talk to more a little bit maybe about just that change. But this was a super fun episode. I didn't get to meet him while we were in New York. So getting able to have this time to talk to somebody who's been in the industry for so long and has done different things, I think that was really special. So I loved this interview. Again, taking something away from every person that I meet and that I come across. And that was kind of my take. So I hope you love this interview as much as I did. And I hope that you enjoy it. Hey everyone, welcome back to Beauty School Bobby. Today I am here via Zoom with somebody that I'm so excited for you to meet. So we're actually going to jump into this introduction. You can obviously see we have Kerastase behind you. We know what product you're with, so perfect background. So thank you so much for being here, Guillaume. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Hi, well, thank you very much. Hi, Bobby. Hi, everyone. Super excited to be with you guys today.
So I want to talk to you first to kind of rewind and go back a little bit. So what was your first exposure to the beauty industry? What did that look like for you when you first were exposed to this crazy world?
Interesting. So I'll tell you a little bit maybe about my background. I'm originally from France. My dad's from France. My mom's from Colombia. So I was born and raised in France. And obviously, in being in France, a brand like Kerastase is really well known. So I grew next to it in my household. My mom was using it. We're not allowed to use it, but it was in our bathrooms. And then, interestingly enough, when I was at university, I was studying marketing and communication, and we had it was a draw where you go pick out the theme, and that was the theme of the assignment that you'll have for the next 4 months. And it was a marketing assignment across the industry. So it could be anything from tennis rackets to clothing. And when we picked, my friend and I, we were drawn with hair dye products. And so that was, at the time I'm still at school, and okay, over the next 3 months, I have to become an expert around hair dye products. So we start researching it. We start interviewing people. We actually met people from L'Oreal at the time, and then we had this great idea, because it was over 3 months, that each time that we're gonna go in front of the audience, because there are like 300 people at school, wouldn't it be funny if we do it with a different hair color? And so at the time, I had no idea about hair color. I say, oh, that can be fun. I like to stand out a little bit. So I say, okay, let's do that. So we do the thing. And on the day of the first, it was over 4 months. So on the day of the first regroup, I had spent, I think, and I have dark hair, so I have dark base. I had spent probably like 5 or 6 hours, because granted at the time there's no additive, there's no, it's not, we're talking 2001, and I show up and I remember, and then I see my pal, he didn't do it. He chickened out of it. I'll show you a picture. Like, look.
Oh my gosh.
So I do that. And then and so after I dyed my hair silver, but at the time, in order to maintain it, there's no like blanc absolu, there's no like fancy. It was like really try to go into the pharmacy, get purple shampoo for, like older demographics, and try to maintain the color. And then for the last one, I dyed my hair blue. And after I shaved my head, because between the regrowth and other things was looking like not good. So anyway, so that was my first really interaction with the both the salon, the hair coloring product and everything. And then I did an internship at L'Oreal, who was on my campus recruiting, and that's how I in 2004, that's how I started working over there, and I was exposed to product development. I was exposed to marketing, and I enjoyed it. And I said, well, that's something I could do. I didn't get a job originally with them back in 2004. I worked in consulting. I worked for other companies. But then when I came to the US, me and my girlfriend, who's my wife, the mother of my little daughter, Phoenix, we arrived here and said, we'll come to the US. We'll try to speak English a little bit more, and we stayed. And that's, looking for a job. I found a job for a men's grooming company, and I was marketing director there. So again, in beauty. And after that, L'Oreal came and reached out to me at the time on LinkedIn, and I joined now over 12 years ago, always in PPD. And it was a fun loop, because I first started working with Matrix, and then I was the head of hair color for Redken for a couple of years, and now I've been with Kerastase and Uemura for the past 6 years and a half. So I know it was a little bit long, but I give you a little bit of background.
No, that's good.
And then you got to see. So I don't have that much hair, but the next step maybe is to do something around the beard.
Well, I want to ask you, when you had that project and you just happened to draw like beauty industry hair dye, was there something in that time that are you able to remember and kind of like look back to be like, oh, this is actually, like, was there a light bulb that went off in that moment, or was it after you kind of came into the business a little bit that you really got hooked? I mean, there had to have been something that you were at least like interested in during that time, with the marketing of this. What was that like?
The marketing piece came a bit after. I always enjoyed being going to the salon. At the time, I always like to do things a little bit differently. So again, now it's not the best canvas for it, but at the time, so I had much more hair, it was curly. And I remember even that one day I showed up to my salon and I said, hey, like, I would like to relax my hair. And then I was, and the funny thing is, at the time in Paris, my salon was not like a trendy, fancy salon. They had been doing my hair since I was like 12, 13, 14. And so like I had this great relationship with this hairdresser, this lady who owned the salon, because I always come up with something, and she didn't get to do so much of that. I asked her, hey, let's do an undercut, or like do this, let's do them all. And she was like, are you sure? You're the only person asking for all of that in the whole neighborhood. But anyway, so I always enjoyed it, and I think it's I think it's such a great way to express your own individuality, and there's so much that you can do. And then of course on the marketing side of it, it's being able to work in a company like L'Oreal. It's great because there's so much respect for the industry, so much respect for the craft, and also I think it's one of the best possible schools of marketing as well. starting all the way down from an intern now to be a general manager. So you really get to see the evolution, and that's why I appreciate it.
Yeah, one of the things that I really loved when I got to visit this summer was that it just seemed like everyone that we met had been with the company for a while, but in a lot of different roles. So I actually really liked the way that L'Oreal wanted to keep you,
Yeah.
but grow you in different ways. I was super interested in everyone that we talked to figure. I had two questions for everybody when I was there. I asked how they got to work because I was really excited about how everybody got there from where they were. And I was
Like
excited.
physically.
Yes, I was like, did you walk? Did you ride a bike? Did you get on the
So
subway?
what do you think I do? What do you think I do?
What do
do
I
I
think
look like?
you do?
How do I get to work?
I want to believe that you drop. Did you say son, Phoenix?
My daughter, Phoenix.
Daughter. Okay. So I wanted to imagine that you guys have this cute little routine that you get ready in the morning, grab a bagel, drop off at school, and then you ride a bike. That's my dream for you.
All right,
but
so it's not too far off. So you're not too far off. So here's the deal. She doesn't go to school yet,
okay.
but she'll start next year. So I'm with her in the morning, and because so I live downtown in Tribeca. I don't know how much you're familiar with New York. So my commute's not too bad. And usually I spend the morning with her, have breakfast with her, because oftentimes at night, if I finish late, I don't get to see her as much. Or the morning is really when I try to do that. And then when the nanny comes is when I leave. So everybody, and I'm very mindful about work-life balance and family. So my team knows that I don't take any meetings before 9:30. And the reason why is I leave my house when the nanny comes in at 9. And then, and I don't want to sacrifice the time that I have with my daughter in the morning. I actually do ride a bike to the office. Right now, the winter months, I'll switch for the subway. But in New York, what's great is you have all those views around the West Side Highway, and it's and I'm lucky that I get to do that because with my commute is then anywhere from 20, 25 minutes door to door, and even if I take the subway, it takes me a half an hour. But it's and the one thing though where you have it wrong is no bagels for me is croissants.
Okay. That makes sense. Well, I love it. I think it was just so fun. Like I said, just hearing this lifestyle, when we were there, being from Tennessee, and I grew up in a super small town. So I just loved being able to pretend the whole week we were there, when we'd leave the hotel and go to it was amazing. I loved that so much. The Beauty School Bobby podcast is brought to you by Tennessee School of Beauty, the leader in cosmetology education since 1930. As one of the first nationally accredited cosmetology schools in the nation, TSB has been recognized by Modern Salon as one of the top 10 beauty schools in America and voted the top cosmetology school in East Tennessee for 28 consecutive years. Offering programs in cosmetology, aesthetics, medical aesthetics, and makeup through MUD as MUD's first standalone satellite location in the United States. So come see me to start your career in the beauty industry at Tennessee School of Beauty today. Well, I love that you mentioned the work-life balance. I think that that's so important. And I think this example that we're setting for our children, I think that it's so important. And I'm really excited to see the way I have two, and so 5 and 9. And I just love the way that they're watching all of this happen and the way that they're seeing that we're making that time for them and that we do have those conversations a lot. Do you talk to your daughter about work or about what you do?
She I think she figures it out that I'm doing something around hair because I often come back home with hair clips or stuff. And my wife actually, she's a true beauty junkie. She has her own. She creates content and she has she has amazing hair, and so she does a lot as well. So she thinks probably more than her mom does stuff around in hair, but I'm the one bring home some of the goodies. But she's still young, and it's funny how she has her little routine. The other day, her godfather gave her a little bag, which was some beauty accessories in it. So over the weekend, we go and I take her to with her scooter. I take her to the park, and then suddenly she stops, and she opens her bag and she say, "I have to redo my hair," and so she redoes her hair on the thing, and then she's the only kid. So yeah, I think she's definitely, and she's funny. She has I can She has like those little curls, so
Oh
there's like,
my
she's
gosh.
cute. So,
She's gorgeous. Oh,
she's
her
funny.
curls.
Exactly. I believe it or not, I used to be blonde until I was 10 years old.
Oh my gosh. And then again when you were in college for the project. So that's right. You
Exactly.
just went right back to your
That was a
roots.
more painful experience because, again, uh, dark base, that's my scalp at the time. You know,
Yeah.
I at the time, I could have told like, okay, maybe we do need something for people who want to go through that process because what's interesting and I'm jumping from many years later in my career, but when blonding and the cool shades, everybody wanted to be platinum, titanium, but you don't know the upkeep that it's going to take, and oftentimes it's a significant investment, first of all, to begin with, if you're going to start and if you're going to have a double process, and then you spend all that money, and now you need like, and if that's why like the products are so important for you to use it and to keep your investment, and I think that's also very much the role of the future stylists of tomorrow, of the stylists today is in the salon, to continue to educate. And I think that's also one of the things I enjoy very much about the professional brands and about the industry is this idea and this passion for everyone to always want to learn more, always want to educate. When you work in marketing or when you work in finance, it's rare that you see people 10, 15 years into their career always want to learn more, always, you become better at what you do, but and that's what I love, and I genuinely, I think even more so in the US, appreciate even more is this idea that of constant education, of constant, and it's not just the education, is the idea to passing it on. I can tell you that there's some big salons that we're lucky that we get to work with some of the finest salons in the US, and there's some big salons today. Imagine when you have a multi location salon, you can end up having anywhere from 50, 60. We have partners who have over 100 employees. And I remember speaking with one of them, and I won't name the salon or the person, but who told me, I came back, I came in the US from abroad, hardly spoke English. I just want to do hair. I never went to the business to have 8 salons and 120 people working for me. And today, most of my time is actually on the business side. But what I'm most passionate about now is still educating, because I'm convinced that today, within my locations, within people who work with me, hopefully there's the next person. And whether you want to do your craft just for yourself, or then you want to become a business person, and that you can only do by having the right mentors, and that's also how and by having the right teachings, and I think that's amazing. So in a way, also you contribute to that with your podcast and your channel and passing on, and I hope that somehow through the many conversations and the people that you get to interview, each and every one of your audience can maybe take something, and whether it's going to interest them or research it. And I think that's the beauty of it. So thank you very much for participating to that as well.
No, thank you. I think that's the thing I love too. There's not a lot of industries. I'll listen to other podcasts, like How I Built This, and listen to like Apple, Google, like whatever, all the entrepreneur stuff. And I love that. But I think what's so different about our industry and what we get to be a part of, and I've thought about this often, like whether it's a time that we're living in, that like we have all of these greats, right? Like we have like the Sambias, we have the like all of these people that are like hair legends, and are like, okay, I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this, but I want to give you everything. And there's so many people
Absolutely.
that want to just give that. And I think in other industries, I think it's almost like, well, we have this idea, this is what makes us successful, we're going to keep it. And we want to hold that tight because this is what got us to the top. They don't want to share as much, but I do think that is, at least right now in the industry, I think that I've seen such a change of like, it used to be, I think
I
that
agree.
salons were like kind of kept things a little closer to them, but now it's just this sharing, and I think it's really going to change the next generation of stylists and just the way that the industry is because of that.
I agree, and I think it just goes back to what does it mean to be in the industry, to be a hairdresser, and I think you have to be generous. you have to be a people person, and I've seen it so many times. When back in the days when we were working on photo shoots, and I remember we had brought this young up and coming artist from the UK, first time ever coming to New York, and then I remember like a couple of years later, like doing all the royal celebrity hair, but the one thing he would still do, and he had become like super famous, but he would still go and teach. And in this case, if you work like with a brand like Matrix, for instance, he was committed to go and teaching in Asia, in Eastern Europe, and when he was doing that, he was traveling for many days. And believe me, he was not making anything compared to what could be doing in like his celebrity clientele. But just this idea of passing that on, and he said, if I hadn't had that myself, a mentor, somebody who taught me, and I think that's what's great about the industry is no matter how big people get, how big their following are, exactly like with the Sams of the world, or in many others, there's this willingness to pass that on. And I think today it's even more accessible to anyone because of the technology, because of the content, and you can learn. By the way, you can learn as much from a superstar on the podcast than you can learn from somebody on a TikTok. Like hair hacks and people think like changing my day to day by something that I learn. And there's so much content that's out there that it's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I have a question for you, and this might be like putting you on the spot a little bit, but you've had a lot of different roles. Like I said with L'Oreal, L'Oreal's great about kind of keeping people in the company, but in different forms. When you are looking back at like this point in your career, what position have you held that has just like made you the happiest? That like this is what feeds me, this is what I've loved doing. Where do you think it might even be where you are right now? But what is the position that you've just like loved?
So thanks very much. I think it's a great question. Each role is a bit different. What I'll tell you is, in the past, some of the roles that I've had, I think I've always been very fulfilled with them. And when I was doing product development, I enjoyed that because it's the creativity. You get to launch photo shoots. You get to meet a lot of people, participate, create. So I do believe I have that side of me that likes to be. I would define myself more as even though I'm on the business side, I'm not your like typical like suit. I have this creativity desire. Sometimes, when I travel actually and have my business card for L'Oreal, people, the first question is they actually think I'm a hairdresser more than I'm a. But the role that I like, the one that I'm on, I really enjoy, and I'll tell you why. Because at this point in time in your career, you have to give away a lot of the control. In the past, when you grow, it's all about you doing well. If you do well, you're gonna go. Now, I have a team of 80 people. The only way the brand can do well, I can do well, is if everybody does well. So I have my own responsibility right now in making sure that everybody can function what in the way that's best. We also have to constantly adapt. I think the new generation coming into the workforce is also very different. The way we work today with the online, offline. And I enjoy that because, it always keeps you on your toe. It's not, you arrive and now I'm a general manager and I'm set. I'm going to do that for the next 10 years. You always have to challenge yourself about understanding, first of all, your audience and your teams, because without them, there's nothing you can do. And getting to develop the people and seeing them grow, I think that's very rewarding. And for me, that's the main difference versus in the past. You control much more your own trajectory, because at the end of the day, if you work hard, if you're committed, and if you get things, and if you have, you'll progress. But now comes a point in time that, and I guess it's a bit the same for a salon owner or somebody who manages a team. At the end of the day, if you can only have so much client on your own, and if it's your salon, if it's your company, then you need to make sure that everybody strives, everybody stays with you, everybody wants to work with you, everybody wants to go the extra mile, and so I would say that that's the piece that I enjoy. So a little bit of this and that, and then always knowing what makes you happy, and then finding ways to get to do that, you know?
Yeah. Was that hard for you to learn how to give up that control? It's super interesting that you said that that's kind of a difference, but you're right. I think for a long time, I mean, I think especially like with beauty school students and then going into a stylist and building your clientele, it is so much about you. You're promoting yourself. You're working for these numbers that only you can control. Only you are in charge of how much money you're bringing into the salon and all that stuff. How do you switch that to then say, wait, it's not about me now. It's about this team. Did you have to consciously do that? Or is it something that kind of just happened and they moved you into that role when you were ready for that?
No, because I think that the reality is you never you can go from one role to another, but then when you scale, there's nothing that prepares you from having a team of it's okay when you go from I have a team of 5 and I have a team of 10. It's kind of the same, and then obviously, but the reality is then the human relationship and the management is actually what takes most of your time. But then when you go and you scale that even to the next levels, and I have a team of 80. So if you have a team of 2 and thinking, oh, I can help them because I used to do that job and I can, the reality is like you cannot do everybody's job, and you can and also they're the expert. I think it's really trust and making sure that you can add value by giving feedback or by giving your own 2 cents. But at the end of the day, each and every single person should be empowered to be the expert and for the field that they're on. I'll give you an example. One of the persons I work very closely in my team happens to be a hairdresser. Just, through ways of life, we've worked together now for almost 13, 14 years in different capacity. When I was first a marketing director, that she was an intern. And I even asked her, like, because for me, it was new to come to a company and there's hairdressers. I say, well, what do you do? And then I understand that actually, even as a marketer, I am so much better working and getting the buy-in also from the hairdressers, from the educators of the world, and to the point that when I was after head of marketing, I had my team. They'll come with ideas, and my first thing is like, you shouldn't show that to me. Have you showed it to so and so? What do the hairdresser think? And sometimes they, oh, we haven't shown it. So you work for a hair company in the professional division. You have a new concept. You have an idea. You haven't even discussed that with any hairdresser or any hairstylist. I don't even want to talk about it. Like until you go and speak to them, then only you bring it to me. But so again, it's the ability to delegate, the ability to trust, and knowing that. And I'm a big believer that through the collective intelligence and everybody bringing to the table is always going to be better than the top-down approach. So of course you have to learn. Sometimes it's not easy, and I would be lying to you if I told you you're born with it and you're the management today. And that's what's enjoyable about it, because it's a big piece of the job now. Now it's mostly managing people.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I think that's so cool. I hadn't really thought about that or talked to anybody about that difference that comes along with like maturity in the career and maturity in the company. I think that that's something that's so special. Okay, one more question. What advice do you have for somebody that's thinking about coming into the beauty industry, maybe in a capacity similar to yours? There might be somebody that's listening that's working on a project in college right now that is just now like getting their feet wet into this. But what advice do you have?
I would say, we talked about passion earlier. So always remember what drives you, what was on day one when you came in. And, no matter how far you go, what was the one reason why you got there? And the other piece is, again, we talked about learning. Never think that, you're there, that you know it all, because the same way the things change, consumers change, the environment change, and sometimes we get thrown out, change that we cannot control, and this ability, like flexibility, being open-minded, and that's what I would say is the main quality. But there's so much, the beauty of today it will be different than the beauty of tomorrow, but it's what's really unique. It's not an industry that's going to go away. People will continue to have hair, and they will always need to go to a salon to have it done, have it colored. And I think that's what's great about it, is no matter how much it changed, I think the people hairdressers and in manufacturers like us, in a way, we'll always be bonded together because of that, and that's what's unique about it.
Yeah. Well, I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really appreciate your time, and I'm so excited to follow you and kind of see what you're up to and what happens next for you.
No, but thank you very much. Thank you. We
Yes.
have a great things coming up with Kerastase, always a new innovation, and Uemura that I manage as well. So I encourage you, and I'll share my social, my channels.
Yeah.
Anybody's free to follow and then reach out to me, and if I can help in any way. So I appreciate again, Bobby. Thank you very much for taking the
Yes.
time. Your genuine enthusiasm for sharing what you know and what you learn about the industry. I really appreciate that. I had a great time. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.